last week, they were completely rammed. They were filled up to the gunnels, they were queuing down the street. They said, you should have been here last week. I swear, you should have been here last week. Oh yeah, you should have been here last week.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of You Should Have Been Here Last Week, the podcast presented by myself, Steve Gribbin, and fellow comedian Paul Ricketts. Sadly, Paul cannot be here today because he's not feeling very well, so get well soon, Paul. But this is the podcast that takes a peek behind the glittery curtain of the comedy industry and talks to the movers, the shakers, the joke makers, the code breakers, and all things in between to give us, the general public, just a tiny glimpse of what makes the comedy world tick. Now, today's guest, and we're delighted to have him, is stand-up comedian, rising star of the comedy circuit, the dark, the delicious, and the very funny Sam Serrano. Welcome, Sam.
I've been called a rising star for the past 5 years, and I'm waiting now.
I know it's that comedy shorthand, isn't it? You know, that it's that everyone gets labelled with a certain label, don't they? You know, rising star. You know,
yeah.
Comedy. I get comedy veteran. Yeah, but it's great to have you on the show. Thank you very much for agreeing to do it. We always start off. We kind of always start off asking. You know, about your motivation to become a comic, but I'd like to ask as well, leading up to that, who are the comedians or the people in comedy that you saw either on TV or live that when you were growing up that made you sort of think, wow, you know, comedy is for me?
So I was always my route was always going to be acting. That's what I always wanted to do. My mum got me into acting because she was like, oh, Sam's clearly on the spectrum. Get them into acting. So like, it was drama just kind of socialised me. And then about 8 years in, my drama teacher went, oh, Sam, you cannot work with other people. Stand up is something you can do on your own and you're completely in control. So I just started it from that and luckily got all right at it. That's kind of how I got started. And I think the people, I was always interested in comedy. I think it was Mitch Ben on the Now Show. My mum always used to listen to Radio 4 and pretend she was middle class. So we'd listen to Mitch Ben all the time. And I'd like the little songs he used to do at the end of an episode, I'd have them on repeat.
Wow.
So yeah, Mitch Ben, and then who else I think was great? Stuff like The League of Gentlemen and Mighty Boosh were two shows that I was like, oh, this is unlike anything. And I think the fact my mum didn't like them made me like them even more. I think, and stand-up wise, I think the first stand-up I watched and went, that's brilliant, was Daniel Sloss.
Right.
I think,
okay.
definitely. Yeah, it's a lot of the. I've got a lot of quite a varied thing. Stephen Lynch as well was someone who I would love growing up as well. But yeah, I became very obsessed. The second I found out stand-up was a thing, I became obsessed with all of it.
Yeah. Do you actually remember when your first ever gig and how it went?
I do. Do you know the Brink in Liverpool?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never been there. But,
it's a non-alcoholic pub, and I was 13. Yeah, 13. So it's the only place that would let a 13-year-old go and do the open mic night. So it was a music open mic night, and I went. And I remember very clearly because it's non-alcoholic pub and there's like AA meetings. It's closed down now, sadly, but yeah, there were like AA meetings there. A lot of the people were like recovering alcoholics. And I remember one of them came over to me and went, "That was great, so young, like basically a kid." And I don't see my kids anymore. And they just started to spiel.
Can you be my kid? Just then they started crying. Oh God. That was young, wasn't it, to start though? 13. I mean, there must have been a gap then between.
Huge gap. Well, there was my after watching me there. My mum was like, "Okay, Sam enjoyed this, but the audience didn't. So she put me on the Paul Smith's comedy
Course.
comedy course,
Yeah,
Hot
yeah,
Water.
yeah.
So I did that, and it was me, and then a bunch of. I think my mum thought it was going to be for people my age, like 14 to 16, and it was like, you know.
You were the youngest person by about 20 years, were you? Oh God.
Without a doubt. I will send you. I have the photo, and it has Paul Smith nearly 11 years ago. It's insane to look at. Yeah, then I did. So I make sure people know I've not been going for nearly 12 years. I think I've solidly been going for 7. Yeah, but I started solidly when I was about 18.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember your first sort of like proper gig, as you're saying, like when you started off doing the comedy circuit?
I think the first proper one was you did like a showcase after, and it was in the Holiday Inn in Hot Water.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And they were great. And then I did a lot of there was comics there who like ran like open mic nights, so I'd get on those gigs. I did a lot of. Do you know Adam Hughes, Scouse comic?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a lot of his gigs starting out, which for someone who hadn't drank, hadn't really had much of a not saying not much of a social life. I did my drama, and then I'd just go home. I didn't really like hang out with people. So to go from that to going to an Adam Hughes gig was quite the jump, because it's like going, oh, I don't have fizzy drinks. Okay, here's ketamine. Like it's it was fucking eye-opening for me, and I think that took a lot of getting used to. But yeah, and then after this, like the clubs who when I started out who were like giving me proper gigs, Glee, very very early on. I think that was the first time we met, wasn't it?
It was the Glee. It was the one in Birmingham. Was it the
Carousel?
The Carousel. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then which they've been very very supportive of me, but also they were like, Sam's got in here too early, and they have waited until I'm ready, which I'm very very grateful for. They were really cool to me. XS Malarkey as well have always been great. Rob Riley, those kind of gigs where when I was starting out, they were where I got an experience of, this is what stand-up's like.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And is there anything that you did you have an idea when you first started of what you were going to talk about? Did it come to you? No, right, yeah.
No, I did. So it's a really weird one because so when I started out, I was a straight white male doing one-liners, and now I've kind of grown with comedy. I've said this forgetting other people listen to it and they don't know who I am or what I do. So a lot of my materials about being bisexual, non-binary, and having learning difficulties.
So yeah, you say straight white male, and but then you sort of changed within yourself, and then that. But then was there a bit where you're sort of thinking you changed within yourself, and then think, oh God, I've got to drag the material up to, because there's always and I don't mean this in a sort of a bad dad joke way, but there is always a transitioning period, isn't there, when you're going into a new set from something that, and it just doesn't work anymore. But you think, I can't do without those jokes, so you'll have to do for a bit,
Yeah, it was it's an interesting one, because so I went to see Eddie Izzard, and that one I was like, okay, wearing makeup could be something I want to do. Started wearing makeup on stage and told everyone it was a character act. And then people were like, well, this is incredibly homophobic if this is a character act. So I kind of had the jokes, kind of. I also, like, when I took that huge time off, so like from 14 to about 18/19, I was writing a lot. And a lot of, because starting out, I did just do a lot of open mic nights. It kind of didn't matter if I didn't have the jokes, because there were 2 people there who didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? So I had that time to go, okay, let's work out what I want to do and what I want to talk about. I've pretty much always done what I do now. I've just not always been good at it. So I've always been trying to do stuff about the bigger topics and but when I started out and I didn't know how to do a joke, it was just difficult for audiences to watch because they were like, okay, why are you talking about your dad hitting you? And there's no ironic punchline. But I've now, to be fair, I think in the past year and a half, I've really managed to go, oh, okay, this is how I not get away, but how I do what I want to do, and I do it in a club in front of stag do's and hen do's.
Yeah.
Like, I did, I was at Glasgow Stand all weekend, and on the Saturday, someone came over to me, this, very, masculine guy came over to me and went, I just want you to know, when you got on stage and I saw you wearing makeup, I was determined not to find you funny. But that last 5 minutes, I really enjoyed it. It's like, I kind of enjoyed it.
I love that. Yeah, the thing is, I love that. He's got to be so specific, Just in case you thought that I enjoyed the whole 20 minutes, I enjoyed that. Talk about a backhanded compliment, for God's sake.
I had another backhanded compliment on the Friday. Someone came over to me. This lovely, older woman. She came over, she stopped me, and she went, I just want to say I loved what you did. And I went, oh, thank you. And she went, yeah, I loved it because you weren't offensive. You were self-deprecating. And I went, oh, yeah, that's what I do. And she went, yeah, you didn't punch up, you didn't punch down, you just punched yourself in the face.
Oh, that's brilliant. Hey, I tell you what, Sam, that's a good quote to have on your poster, isn't it?
It's such a perfect description of what I do. It's great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You want to get that woman to be your publicist. So that what you're basically saying is that it took you a while to find your voice, but now you feel like you're yeah. I mean, it does happen. It takes some people years and years, to find their to find what they actually want to do, feel comfortable doing. And would you say that the writing of the jokes has got any easier for you? I mean, would you now that you've got kind of more clearly defined persona, do you think this will work? But then that's interesting. What I wanted to ask as well is, if you've got some stuff you think, what a great joke that is, but it wouldn't fit. It's, because we've all done, I know I've got loads of jokes that don't suit my persona. I think
I've got because I've past 6 months, I've been getting a bit working, and it's been so difficult to get going. So a lot of the stuff I was doing was like, I've got learning difficulties, I'm bisexual, I'm this, and it was about me, and audience was fine laughing at that. And I've started doing bits now about my partner having fibromyalgia, and having audiences be, oh yeah, we'll laugh at this because you're here and you're clearly okay doing jokes about it. To then go, hey, let's laugh at a disabled woman that's not here. That was like the first 10 to 20 times I was doing that at new material nights. Audiences were not going for it, but I kind of stuck with it. And I'm now getting it going, and it's got bits of self-deprecation in it. I've got what I think is the best joke I've written recently is I talk about how she has to use when it's a PTSD that affects the joints, and so she struggles with moving and stuff. Eventually, she has to use crutches, or she has to use some kind of walking aids, and walking aids was my nickname in high school. So.
Oh, very.
So it's got stuff like that kind of self-deprecation. Then there's other bits and I think that's Jojo Sutherland said to me that she was impressed that I do actually there are jokes there, and it does. Yeah, it does work in a club, and I'm able to get it working now. Yeah. Right.
Can I ask you, what's your what's your favourite type of club to play? What do you think makes it? Well, actually, let me rephrase that. What for you makes a really good comedy club?
Oh, I mean, I did it this weekend, but whatever the Stand have, it's so perfect.
They are fantastic, aren't they?
Oh, it's so. I genuinely I had someone who will go unnamed when I was like, oh, I want to get in with the stand, and they told me, they were like, oh, the stand won't work with you. So when I stopped, kind of stopped listening to him, I got in contact with the stand straight away. I was like, can I come gig for you? And they went, yeah, obviously. So the stand's always got a very special bit in my heart. I really love doing the stands. I think it has, like, there's the whole thing. I think comics overthink what makes a good gig. Do you know, like, if you go and you go, oh, the ceiling's too high, and your audiences aren't going, oh, no, I'm not laughing at that. I'm not going to find anything funny tonight.
I mean, we are very good at talking ourselves out of a gig, aren't we? If you're not in the mood and you look peek behind the curtain, you think, oh my God, I don't like the look of them, and it's amazing how many times that turns out not to be true. So you'll see a big group. I just did a gig quite recently, well, this weekend at Oxford. It was at the Glee Club in Oxford, and there was a whole front row of women who'd been to a bottomless brunch all day. Yes, and you can guess. And there's all four of the acts were all stood at the back, just going, "Oh Christ, this is gonna." They were lovely.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be a nice bottomless brunch vibe instead of a horrible one.
Yeah, I think the only sign that I've, because you do talk yourself out of gigs, and I try to be like, no, let's give the audience the benefit of the doubt. And one time that I think I tried to give the audience too much benefit of the doubt was when, and I don't know how I got this gig, but I opened for Frankie Allen. Who, do you know Frankie? Most dangerous comic in the UK.
Yeah.
I was completely right to judge his audience straight away.
Yeah.
There are some times where you go, oh, this isn't gonna be fun.
No.
And there are some times you're right. Most of the time you're wrong. But yeah, I think it sounds silly, but like a mic working is such, like, it's rare at some gigs. Like, I've ran one gig in my life, and they were like, oh, what do you need? And I was like, oh, I just need, like, bar closed, needs to be cash, and I need a mic. And we're sorted.
Yeah.
I went, preferably a wired mic. If it's wireless, we'll work with it. Now I turn up and they go, yep, here's the mic. And I go, I've not mentioned a mic stand. There's like, I think I know what's going to happen here. Yeah. Luckily, there were no musical comedians on, because that would have been very tricky to do. So yeah, it was great. Yeah, the bill was great. It was me MC, Bethany Black open, a new act called Jake Johnston in the middle, who's brilliant, and then Phil Chapman closing.
Oh, it's fantastic for me.
Pretty much I think lineups are more important than like the gig, like the venue the gig's in. If it's a good lineup, you pretty much, like, this weekend was Jojo Sutherland MC, and I was like, oh, I'll be fine.
Yeah,
this is going to be great. Carl Hutchinson closing, beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think gigs like good MCs really make the gig. Yeah. Luna disagrees with that.
Oh, right. Is that the dog?
Yeah.
People, everybody watching out there, we have a new guest on the show. It's Luna the dog. I mean, I wanted to ask you, because I know that you travel. I mean, you are one of the people that travels at huge distances for gigs, and you don't drive, do you?
No, I don't.
So, and neither do I. And I wanted to ask, as a fellow, I'm quite militantly non-driver. It's hard, isn't it? I mean, you must have had some horrendous experiences getting to gigs. It was
some of them have been unreal. The worst one I've had recently is I was doing Hilarity Bites, Darlington Music Forum, fucking beautiful gig.
Yeah.
And then I'm staying at Danny Deegan's in York. And I meant to take Luna on a dog walk with Lucy in the morning. So I'm like, right, I got to leave dead early. I went to Danny. I was like, I'm getting the train at like 8, and he gave me a lift down to the train station. It was York to Leeds, and then Leeds to Liverpool. Nice and easy.
Oh, easy.
It was on the day of the snow.
Oh.
And that train Liverpool to York. What's it called? No, not Liverpool. York to Leeds.
Yeah.
Ran on time, and I was like, "Oh, beautiful! First train in the morning. There's not going to be any issues." And then I got to Leeds for 9 a.m. and I leave Leeds 7 p.m.
What? Oh my God!
That's
what
only because
happened?
I booked a Flixbus. Everything was off.
Oh
And then
my
because no
God!
planes were flying, they cancelled the trains to the airport.
Sheesh! Oh
It
my
was
God!
insane.
That is
Yeah.
like, well, I mean, that tops anything. I mean, that's like what? Oh my God! Like 8-10 hours. Oh, I'd have been going insane. I mean, I often have this thing of where you do a great gig, and then you're sort of buzzing with the adrenaline, the excitement, and the journey home is so shit that
Yeah.
by the time you actually make it home, every last vestige of loveliness and enjoyment is just gone.
Oh yeah, that happens so often.
So you walk in and you're like this. So I mean, but I admire that though, because you do travel. You'll basically travel anywhere for a gig, won't you?
Yeah, pretty much. And like, it's always that thing if you'll see it in the forum where they go, "Oh, not accessible by public transport," and I always go, "Oh, fucking, let me see." I reckon I can get that.
Yeah, would suit driver only, and then you think, oh yeah. Mind you, there must be a lot of. You go by coach a lot as well, don't you? Yeah.
They're more reliable and they're cheaper.
Yeah. Luna agrees with you. She's a staunch supporter of the coach system. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think? I mean, you're firmly based in the north, aren't you? Do you think it's helped? I mean, we often ask about the difference because it seems to be getting more pronounced, the difference between north and south in the comedy world, because there's such a big scene in the northwest. Do you think that's helped you?
I think so. Yeah, I think if I gigged in London starting out, and I started out in London, I don't think there's scope to be bad as a new act in London, because like agents and TV people go to the open mic, they see you starting out. I know someone's telling me with Finn Taylor, agents saw him very early on. I'm like, oh no, but now Finn's great.
Of course, yeah.
So I like the you can kind of like fly under the radar a bit, which like look at people, Jamie Hutchinson, Paul Smith, Adam Rowe, Dan Nightingale, all flying. Like, I do think it's because they had that space to be like, okay, let's work out what we're doing, and now we'll go in front of everyone. And I think the North is great for comedy. It's so, but I think like because there are some gigs in like rugby clubs and stuff, which starting out I wouldn't have wanted to do.
No.
But I'm now able to go and do it, which means, and then you come and see, you get like, not name no names, but you get London acts coming down, and they go, "Oh, this audience aren't gonna like what I do." And you're like, "Well, I've just gone on and done 5 minutes about gender identity and being non-binary. I think they'll go for your bit about the tube." Like, you know what I mean?
Probably not. But it seems to me that there's a bit more of a support network, especially in the north. But Manchester, Liverpool. I mean, I think that there's a lot more camaraderie. There seems to be.
I think so. It's very clicky. But if you're in those cliques, you're sound. That's the thing it's part of the reason I travel so much is I don't want to be too linked to one club or one promoter. Like, again, not naming names, but I do think there are some people who, if Hot Water shut down, they'd go, I don't know what to do now. Do you know what I mean?
Was that a conscious decision you took then at the very beginning? Did you know that before you started, or?
I think it's been more in the past 2 years I've gone,
Right.
I want to be booked by everyone and booked everywhere. So like people go, oh, why are you going down to do that gig for 50 quid?
Yeah.
Which is like a trial spot. And the next day I'm doing a 20 at the store.
Yeah.
Because I'm at different levels with different people and they need to see you. So that 50 quid very quickly becomes 150 to 200 because they see you and they like what you do kind of thing. So yeah, I think I am this year. I'm kind of slowing down with it because I think most people have seen me now.
Yeah.
And they go, if they're still doing the lower paid stuff, I should be getting higher paid now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think everyone's seen me. Everyone's seen the trial. Yeah. Now it's time I kind of step up a bit.
yeah. I mean, you've been doing it for what, 7 years, so yeah, people know who you are. I mean, that's another thing I just wanted to ask about. Do you think you talk about your identity, but I mean, part of your identity as well that you were. I wanted to just ask you: do you think being brought up or growing up in Liverpool has affected your comedy as well?
I think so. Yeah, I think definitely. I think it's made me realise there's less in Liverpool. There's less scope to be bad on stage. If that makes sense. So I think like I've learned that I want to go on and do stuff about this, but there have to be jokes there, and I think there are some comics who it's great, but they are able to kind of do more personal stuff. Which if you go on at hot water and try and do that, it's not going to work. So I think that's kind of helped me massively. I also think like people like watching Paul Smith every night. He's fantastic.
Hey, by the way, going back to the, I just wanted to say, you said you want to be booked by everybody, but one thing you do learn as you go through, a comedy career is that there will always be certain people that, you can't be booked by every single, and it just happens that there will be certain promoters just go, nah. And that's just the way it goes. I mean, it's personal preference, isn't it?
Exactly. And there's some promoters I have done a trial for, and I go, okay, I never want to do your gigs again. And
have you told them that?
I think I've only told one person that.
Are you? Do you use a lot of social media to promote yourself? Is that one of your?
Yeah, massively. Very annoyingly, I had nearly 10,000 followers on Instagram, and then I got hacked.
Oh God!
And I've had to start again, which is very, very annoying. And that's something which I think people. I fully agree that social media is great and you can find comics on there, and there are comics who now have these careers who fully deserve them. Dan Nightingale is the perfect example. You go, why wasn't he on telly for ages? No, he doesn't need that. No. So I do think it has that brilliant thing. But also there is the thing of it is so not hit and miss, but it's so unpredictable, social media. Yeah. And you don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, so I did I put in a solo show in Glasgow, and I was like, right, that'll sell. I've been in Glasgow loads, we're fine. That got hacked. No one who followed me now knows about that Glasgow show. Very annoying.
Yeah, that is annoying, isn't it?
This weekend we did Saturday I opened for Carl Hutchinson and then did the solo show. Did the club show in the evening. So that's 3 shows in Glasgow. And it's half sold out by this morning.
Well, that's great. That's really good. Yeah.
And that is because of social media.
Yeah.
And you go, it does help. I think it also hinders a few people. And I think there's some people putting out clips too early. And that's one thing. If a new act asks me for advice, and they're like, "Oh, what should I do?" I don't do social media until you're able to keep up with it, and you're able to kind of keep up the clips. And you've got it's like someone going, "Oh, do you want a cake?" Yeah, and then they just hand you eggs, milk, and flour. And you're like, you need to get at a standard where you've got that thing to sell.
Yeah. I mean, have you got that was one of the questions I was going to ask you actually. If you had any advice for anyone starting out in general terms about sort of like comedy and the craft of it, what would your advice be to people who are thinking of, you know, look, as you were in the audience watching something and thinking, "Wow, I just want to do that." What should they do?
I think something I would say is just like, don't. In your I'd say the first 3 to 5 years, just have fun with it and try different things. Try different styles. When I started out, I was doing like one-liners, and then I massively went away from that. And I'm now I have a few, not one-liners, but I have a few like proper like set-up punchline jokes in there. So I've slightly gone back, but not too much. And I think experimenting with that and trying to talk about different things on stages is so important. Don't be afraid of like being bad at it, because for years I was awful because I was trying to do this different thing. But now that thing that's different is working, it's working a lot better than some other. Do you know? Because it stands out and it's different. So definitely do that. Stage time is so important, and just try and get on stage whenever you can. Really,
exactly,
100%.
And also don't ever travel between York and Liverpool on a snowy day. This is a big one. You know, what do you think is the future of comedy, or where do you see it going in the next few years? If indeed it is going anywhere, I don't know.
I think there's going to be a huge shift in comedy, and I think there's going to be a lot of comics who are like huge now, and you go, this is all because of social media. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to keep this up. I would be incredibly shocked that if in 10, 20 years Matt Rife is still selling out arenas. Nice. I would be very surprised, because I do think it's the thing of, this is trending right now, and I think it'll fall off. So I think people will work out kind of how to keep momentum with social media, which I'm also like trying to work that out as well. I also think there's going to be like the people who do the can't say anything anymore. I think people get bored of that, and I think it's going to be a full circle thing of people going, okay, we're now bored of that. Let's go find something else to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's ironic when they say you can't say anything anymore. They've just said the thing that they say that you can't say.
Yeah, and some of them have said it for the past 4 specials. It's like,
I mean, that's interesting though, because certain people on social media, I know that the circuit has become flooded with a lot of people that are, influencers, etc. But there are a select few of them that are really trying to actually learn the craft of being it, which I think is a fantastic thing, because they've obviously got the platform to do it. You know, I'm thinking of people like Jack Skipper.
Jack Skipper.
It's really, really good. You know,
Josh Bolf is another one. And then I think there is the thing of I don't want to be too quick to judge people who are influencers and now want to start in stand-up. I know there's a lot of them also who've gone to music as well, and it seems to be they pick or choose. I know one of my friends is friends with a big influencer, and she went, she's thinking about starting stand-up. And I was like, if she wants to do stand-up because she likes it, go for it. If she wants to do stand-up because she wants to monetize and tour, do a podcast instead.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm heartened to hear you say that in a way, because I think I would hope that live comedy survives in some form, because
I think so.
The purity of it. There's no barrier between you and the audience. I mean, podcasts are great, and I'm saying this because I'm doing one, but there will never be a replacement, in my opinion, for the things that happen in the moment in a comedy club.
Yeah, and I think clubs are clocking on. I know the Stand have recently put cameras up and done the hot water thing of let's get cameras up. Glee have just done it.
The Glee ones are brilliant, by the way. The quality of them is, I've actually used a few of them. Not only is the quality great, the audio of the audience is fantastic as well. Yeah.
Perfect. So that's the thing with the frog, that it was just too far away, the camera. And I think they've sorted it out now. When I'd watch back and go, you can't hear the audience laughing at all. And I know they were because I was on stage and I heard it, and I'm not delusional.
So, we've only got 4 minutes left. What have you got? Any sort of what? I know you said you started off as an actor. What have you got? What are your plans? I mean, you got something in mind, or what would you like to do yourself as a comic?
I'd like to be predominantly known as a stand-up. I think I'd like to do other things. I'd like to do like writing, like scripts, and like I know Rich Dalwardy did a bit of like directing and stuff. I'd love to do that as well. But I think as long as I'm always remembered as a stand-up, I'll be happy, and just keep I'm working on my first hour now, which will be in the Fringe, doing work in progress this year, and then next year debuting in. So I think just keeping producing good stand-up that works in clubs and works everywhere is what I always want. That's what I always want to do. I never want to go, that wouldn't work in a club, but I can do it in front of my audience. I never really want to get to that level. I always want to be able to do it in front of clubs. So I think that's kind of, I want to make sure that I just keep getting better and keep I don't want the quality to keep up as well.
Yeah, I mean, presumably, at some point in the future, because you could go into acting, couldn't you? I mean, lots of stand-ups do, have you ever, any idea what sort of acting you'd like to do?
I think it's like when I was doing the acting, it was always Shakespeare stuff. So I'd love to do that. I think it would throw people a bit.
That'd be great. No, I can see you doing that. What? Okay, here's a curveball. What's your favourite Shakespeare play?
Favourite Shakespeare play?
So Paul Ricketts here. Obviously, that interview finished abruptly due to the fact that we're too mean to pay for Zoom. So we just want to use it for free, and it gives you 45 minutes. But we are left with a conundrum. And the conundrum is, what is Sam Serrano's favourite Shakespeare play? Turns out I was doing a gig with him, so we can find out.
Yes, I'm here with Sam Serrano outside the New Life Church in Cardigan.
I'm burning alive. They don't let me near churches.
I think you're liking it at the minute. So we've done a gig together.
We have.
And now my car's broken down, and we're stuck in Cardigan. This is the life of a comedian, isn't it?
On Easter Sunday.
On Easter Sunday, and waiting for someone to, get both of us out of here.
Yeah.
I think you got a lift sorted, haven't you?
I've got a lift sorted.
Whereas I'm going to stay here for the rest of my life and never leave. I'm already looking at the locals, thinking which one is going to adopt me as their new son. So, but we have a question, because the end of the interview,
yes,
of course, it got cut off at the end.
Yeah.
So what is your favourite Shakespeare play?
Hamlet is my favourite one.
Why?
I think it's partly just because I'm very pretentious and would like to play it. I think that's why. I think, I remember I was about 6 years old and I'd read it being like, I'm going to play Hamlet one day. And I've no idea why I didn't have friends in school either, walking around the playground doing that. But that is why, I think. It's just...
Here's your chance to do the soliloquy. Do it.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I can't remember that.
Yes,
I've done a lot of drugs and alcohol. I'm hungover, Paul.
And not to be.
That is the question.
Yeah. Whether it's...
Was nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows about
this is going great.
Fortune?
Yes.
Or
to take up arms.
Take up arms against something about a sea of troubles.
And then to oppose them, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's shit. That's
your favourite play.
Send that to the National Theatre.
You don't even know. You are pretentious.
Oh, I'm massively pretentious.
Yeah. I know more of it than you, and I don't even like the play.
Yes, Hamlet. I'm sure I told Steve it was Hamlet.
Yeah.
The interview is how long ago? Like 4 months ago.
You don't have to tell the audience that. They just think it all happens instantly. They think this is
We've just recorded it.
Yes, we just did it yesterday.
Just
and
recorded it. You weren't at the interview, right?
No. I just heard you were pretentious. I thought I'm not getting involved with you.
There's people looking at it going, it's like because Paul's just filming him on his phone. It looks like a reverse paedophile hunters. So the paedophile's gone, we've got a kid on Facebook Live.
Yeah, so I've got him now. And, so tell you anyone just phone in, tell me what you want me to do with him. I'm going to cut that bit out.
I'd suck a dick to get out of a cardigan.
You'd suck a dick through a cardigan. I think we'll leave it there. Good point to leave it.
RAC stands for Ready Arse Crack. That's what.
Oh, but well, I'm with fucking green flag. What's that mean?
I don't know what one of them is.
This is countryside anal. Right, I'm now stopping this interview. It's done.
So that's the mystery solved. It was indeed Hamlet. And if you've enjoyed this particular episode, as always, subscribe, tell your friends, send us comments, questions. We'll try and answer them, make suggestions about new guests, all of that. We'd love to hear. And it's just left for me on my own to say bye-bye. Bye.
They said you should have been here last week.